But we often create these ideas and expectations of who we want God to be. And ultimately, what we want is God to be on our side. We want God to answer to us. But ultimately, here's the truth. God is not a genie in a lamp, and you aren't Aladdin. Right? Life is not an all-inclusive resort, and God is not your butler. And ultimately, we have this expectation, even in prayer, like, God, answer my prayer. But how often do we answer God's prayers? Because again, we've created this idea, this expectation that God is working for me. Right? He's a genie in a lamp. And when I ask for him, he better show up and answer. And what I say, he better do. And how dare he say no to me? How dare he turn me down? Right? This is our idea and expectations of God. And ultimately, what happens when God fails our expectations? What happens when the God that we've created in our mind lets us down? We become despondent, we become discouraged, and ultimately we become angry. And the truth is, we're not really discouraged or angry at God. We're discouraged and angry with our idea of God, because it wasn't God who failed us. It was the God that we created in our mind. And we become angry and despondent and discouraged. And ultimately, often we turn away from God. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard growing up, how many times I've seen people turn away from religion and from the church and ultimately turned away from God. And often it was because they were frustrated or they were hurt or confused and angry at God. And the truth is, 99 times out of 100, they weren't really frustrated or angry with God. They were frustrated and angry with a God that they created in their own mind. And this God that they created in their own mind failed them and let them down. They didn't walk away from God. They walked away from their own God, the God of their imagination.